Hi, I'm Clara Rose, and this is Influence Matters, the show where each week I share tips, tricks, tools, hacks, resources, whatever you want to call them, sometimes even interviews, to help savvy influence builders just like you to strategically and intentionally cultivate and build their influence, because we know that that is how we organically generate leads for a business, ministry, cause, or brand. And that is why we're here today, my friends. Before we get started, I always have to say thank you to some special people who make this possible. So thank you to our sponsor, Rosedale Publishing. They specialize in business books for professionals and entrepreneurs, business brand books specifically. So if that is something you're in need of, those are the people you can reach out to. Thank you, Rosedale, for sponsoring us. And then, of course, I have to give a special thank you to the fine folks over at Tampa Bay Multimedia and WeBeam TV, where we are today, for they truly make this show possible. So thank you, thank you. Okay, so if you are a frequent flyer with us, you know that we usually start with a question of the week. But I don't have a question of the week for you today. I had one, but it didn't go well with the topic that I wanted to talk about today. So we're just going to skip that for today and jump right into a topic that I know matters to you. It matters to all of us who are building a business or a brand or a ministry, if you will. I'm talking about building influence. So each entrepreneur, business owner, whatever you consider yourself, is different, and our visions are all unique. Some of us dream of, empires as a coach or an author, and others envision worldwide recognition as a major influencer. So really, just my savvy tip for you on this is be intentional about designing the future that you want for yourself and your brand, or your ministry, or your business, or whatever it is that you're involved in. I'm an entrepreneur. I think of myself as an entrepreneur, but not everybody who's a small business owner thinks of themselves as an entrepreneur. So however you think of yourself, spend some time being intentional about designing the life that you want, the business that you want, the future that you want. Okay, we're going to jump into some good stuff today, and I don't want to run out of time, so no dawdling. I'm going to cover 5 easy steps to building influence. We're going to talk about a clear vision, a sound strategy, I love strategy, effective resources, appropriate tools, and seasoned mentors, someone to guide you along the way. So we'll just tackle those one step at a time and give you a little bit more insight into them. Before I get started, I often forget to say this, but please, if you have questions that you'd like to have answered on the show or something that you're curious about, drop me an email at hello@clararose.com and let me know what your question is. Of course, leave your contact information as well. And then if you'd like for me to say thank you to you for the question, leave me your name, business name, however you'd like to be referred to, and I will give you credit for the question. Okay, let's move on and get started with clear vision. Okay, so what do I mean by clear vision? I mean starting with the end in mind, starting with what I want it to look like someday down the road. Could be a year down the road, could be 5 years down the road, could be 10 years down the road, whatever that future looks like in your mind. Start with a clear vision of what that should look like if you build it correctly. And then, of course, be authentic to who you are. You want to do something that feels right and feels authentic to you, and then build within your passion. Now, I can hear you rolling your eyes at the word passion because it's a bit overused, I think. People throw it around like confetti. It's like, oh, find your passion, find your passion. I'm not saying don't find your passion. I'm saying passion is about the work that fulfills you, right? So it's something that fills you up when you do it, makes you feel better, gives you life, helps you thrive, makes you feel fulfilled. That's your passion. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. You don't have to call it passion if you're weird about that word. Some people are because it's so overused. But I'm just saying whatever it is that you love to do. So I could easily say, I am passionate about writing. I'm passionate about editing. I'm passionate about helping my clients get their book idea out of their head and into a book. I love when they get their book in the mail for the first time. They're so excited. It's like, here's one of my books right here. It's like, look, and they've got a little selfie of themselves and they post it on Facebook or wherever they're at. They're so excited about this thing that they've accomplished. And I am passionate about helping people to make that happen. It's not something that just happens without some planning and some vision on their part, and I help them with that. That's what I'm talking about. Finding what it is that you really connect with and feel fulfilled when you're doing. So a good thing to look at when you're looking at passion is, when I'm done doing it, do I feel energized or do I feel drained and depleted? So here's a good example. I am not a fan of doing the accounting, doing the books. Now, it has to be done, right? Some stuff I do outsource because I don't love it, but this part that I need to be responsible for, I do it. I try to plan it like in the morning, right? First thing in the day. Otherwise, all day long that day, I'm dreading it, thinking, oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, I don't love it. I often say I'd rather crawl through broken glass than to do my accounting. Right? But for someone who loves accounting, they were like, ooh, I can't wait to do my accounting. So it's not something I'm passionate about. It's not something that I love. And when I'm done, I feel drained. I'm like, oh, depleted. On the other hand, if I'm editing a book or I'm writing a chapter or if I'm on stage speaking, when I'm done, I'm energized. I feel good. I feel happy. I feel fulfilled. So there's the litmus test for you. When I do this, do I end it feeling fulfilled or depleted? And if you are fulfilled, that's probably something that you're passionate about. That's all I'm going to say about that. Get a clear vision of what you want your business, ministry, cause, or brand to look like. That's your first one. Let's move on to the next one. Sound strategy. Now, a sound strategy is really just about mapping out your journey, defining the success path along the way, and recognizing what those obstacles to getting there might be. So mapping out the journey really just means this is where I want to be, right? We got a clear vision already, so we know where we want to go. So it's about, here we are now, how do we get there? What does that journey or that map look like? There are likely large building stones or stepping stones, if you'd like to call them that, along the way. Maybe points that if once I reach this point, then I can do this, then I can do this, and that's going to lead to this. So it's really just mapping out your journey. How do I get from where I am now to where it is that I want to be? And it doesn't have to be overwhelming. When I say strategy, people are like, oh, I hate strategy, right? Strategic planning sucks. A lot of people don't like strategy. I happen to love strategy because that's the way my brain works. But if you're one of those people who are like, oh, I don't want to do this, get someone to help you with this, to help you map out and plot out those milestones along the way. It will really help you feel better about the process. Then when it's done and you have a strategic plan to look at, you'll feel better about it. You'll say, okay, now I have some really defined steps along my success path. And along the way, you're going to discover what those obstacles might be that you're going to have to overcome. Some obstacles are going to come and we're not going to recognize them until they're there. You couldn't necessarily see it coming down the road. You can't really avoid those. But some things you can see are coming, so just plan well for those. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Effective resources. Effective resources. Now, there are different kinds of resources. Here, I'm specifically talking about leveraging strategic relationships or inventorying the current resources that you have at your disposal already, and then filling educational gaps. What do I mean by educational gaps? Those pieces of knowledge that are missing from us specifically. So, a educational gap for me for a long time was in the accounting piece. Because I didn't love it, and because I would drag my feet and procrastinate about it, it wasn't something that I sought out education about. But it's important to not only recognize what your maybe weaknesses, some people don't like to use that term, but it's truly what isn't your strength might be an area that you need to get a little bit of education in to fill that gap. Another good educational gap filler is when you have a specific thing that you do, but you see that your clients, customers, whatever you call them, are constantly asking for something else. Oh, I love the brainstorm and blueprint process, Clara, that helps me with my book, getting that out of my head. So some people will go through just that, and other people are like, ooh, but I think I really need the editing piece. Great. I now offer that. I have for a long time. Another piece they're always asking for that I don't yet offer is graphics. Now, I do like the process of graphic design, but I'm not a graphic designer. So I spend my extra educational time learning about graphics, learning how to create graphics, because ultimately I can fill that gap in a small way. Now, not to say that you shouldn't go out and get somebody to do your cover who's a professional. I'm always an advocate of that. But I can fill the gap in small ways in graphics if I fill that gap, educational gap in my own business model. So, something to think about. Effective resources, things that are going to make your job easier, make it more effective at what you do, and then definitely don't overlook those relationships or those strategic relationships, people that you already know that can fill those gaps for you. Okay, let's move on. Appropriate tools. I am a tool fan. You know this to be true if you've been around much. I love tools. So the right tool for every job is so important. And then working smarter instead of working harder, that's totally about the tools that you use to do your job. And then automate when possible. I preach on this a lot, or I talk on this a lot, but really if you can take a shortcut or you can make something easier through automation, it's going to free up your time to do the things that you do love, the things that do leave you feeling fulfilled, right? And then tools beyond just automation, which I love my automation tools, but tools that help you do everything else better are awesome as well. So for instance, I use Canva to create my graphics. It's easy to use. You don't have to be a designer. It's a tool that I've mastered over the years. Gosh, now I've been using it for a really long time, but I've mastered it over the years because it helps me in my own business. Also helps me to help my clients better if they need a graphic or they need something. As a matter of fact, some of my clients are already using Canva, and so it's a great way for me to share my ideas visually with them. So I can go into Canva and create something and share it. Canva will let you have a little link, share it over to that client of mine. They go into their Canva on that link, they open it up, and they can see what I've created. So it's a way to visually connect with people. It's creative, so if you're not a creative, that's probably a bit of a leap for you, but it's a tool that helps me in the creative process. So look for ways in your business, whatever it is that you do, that you can utilize a tool to make your life easier. Now, there are a lot of free ones out there. Canva has a free version, for instance. I do the paid, but it's like $15 a month. It's so reasonably priced that you can't afford to not have it. Can't see that? Can't afford to not have it. You must have it. That's what I'm saying. So find the tools that are going to make your life easier, make your life simpler, make your life better. Appropriate tools, always important. Okay. I left a little extra time for this one because it's so important. Seasoned mentors. So we don't need to recreate the wheel for everything that we do. A mentor is going to help you to follow a proven process because they've already been where you are, the journey that you're on. So finding a successful mentor is maybe the most important of these 5 steps. Now, certainly you need all of them, right? And you probably need to start with the first one first, getting a clear vision of where you're headed, because your mentor isn't going to be able to help you if you don't have a clear vision of what you're trying to accomplish. But a seasoned mentor looks like this. Somebody that you can pick up the phone and call and say, I'm stuck on this right here. I actually have a couple of different mentors. I have a marketing mentor. So if I'm stuck on something marketing, I know who to reach out to, saying, this is the struggle that I'm having. What advice can you give me? Now, sometimes we pay for mentors, and sometimes we don't pay for mentors. A paid mentor is really more of a coach, but a paid mentor might be someone specific to something like marketing. So I have a marketing person that I can reach out to, and he will give me specific advice. But if I want to dive deep into something, then I'm going to pay for his time. Does that make sense? I don't want to take advantage of the mentor-mentee relationship. I'm going to pay him for his time if he's going to have to spend a lot of time with me. But this is somebody who has a vested interest in you being successful, has agreed to mentor you. Remember, they're just farther along in the journey than you are, right? So somebody has agreed to mentor you, and then a clearly defined relationship between the two of you. For instance, I have somebody that I reach out to for something very specific when I'm stuck on something very specific. Now, her time is really valuable, and people pay her a lot of money for her time. And our mentoring relationship is like a 10 or 15 minute call is fine. And we'll do cursory stuff, surface stuff. But if I need to dig deep into the why of something, get down inside and find out, okay, why am I'm kind of giving myself away here a little bit. Why am I behaving this way? She will spend more time with me and I pay for that time, right? That's not the mentor part. And some mentors are willing to take on new mentees because they can help them a little bit. And then if they need something deeper, then that you become a client to them. So just work that out in the beginning. I hear this all the time. I can't find a good mentor. Well, look at the journey that you're on, what type of business you're in, and what your specific needs are. And then look for somebody in the marketplace that isn't so large that you are one of millions, because they're not going to take the time to mentor you, but somebody who has had success that you can reach out to and say, hey, I'm looking for a mentor, would you be interested? There are services out there that will help match up mentor-mentees. As a matter of fact, some communities, if you plug into your chamber or some sort of an organization that's specifically for the entrepreneur and small business owner, they'll often have programs in place. And then, of course, there's also the free resource of like SCORE in your community. Those are filled with people who have, usually they're retirees, who want to give back to the community in some way. So they, maybe they were a printer for 30 years and then they retired. Well, now they're willing to give of their time for free to new printers who are just coming into their business world and need some guidance. Somebody they can reach out to that can give them real life application, if you will, to how to run a printing business. Now, when I started years ago, I actually used SCORE for, guess what? Accounting, because it's not my strong suit, right? I needed some guidance, someone to say, okay, as a business owner, these are the important things right here. And so I educated myself enough that even though I don't do the accounting, I understand what they're doing when they do it. That's just a great example of ways that I've used mentors. I continue to use mentors to this day. Even though I've been in business since I was 18, I continue 56, continue to use mentors because they have knowledge that they're willing to share with me. And now that I've been in business for so many years, I also will mentor others. So people who are looking just for some guidance, they're headed in the same direction that I am headed, or they're wanting to do what I do, I'm happy to give back to the world, give back in some way by helping them out. So I may spend some time just saying, here's the basics of setting up your business to do X. Or, if you need guidance in this area, please feel free to reach out to me. Some of my favorite mentoring programs have been in mastermind groups. And I know that sounds like a big thing to become involved in, and there's definitely a commitment in a mastermind group, but some of the best value that I've ever gotten has come from people I've connected with in a mastermind. And I'm always in one. I have one now that I've been about a year and a half. I guess we're pushing 2 years in this particular program. We each do something different, which is wonderful. We have different resources to draw from, and we all have different perspectives because we all do something a little bit different. And so it's easy for us to come together in our weekly mastermind group, because that's the most effective, is weekly, and just be free to say, here's what I'm doing, here's where I'm struggling, what advice might you have? So each week we take turns. Who has something this week that they could use some help with? Super powerful when you get a bunch of like-minded entrepreneurs or people together. We're doing it on Zoom, of course. We're from all over the world. Getting together, helping each other, mentoring each other along. Super powerful. If you find yourself in an opportunity to participate, absolutely. Make the time commitment. Join one. It's going to make a difference, I promise. If you're not readily finding one, find a group of people that you have something in common with. So this particular group I'm in right now, we all use Kajabi, the platform, for our digital courses and our digital deliverables. We all use it. That's how we met. So somebody in the Kajabi group said, hey, I'm going to start a mentorship program or a mastermind group for people who use Kajabi. Anyone interested? And probably 20 people said, yes, I'm in. And within 3 or 4 months, it was down to 8 of us. And it's been 8 of us for almost pushing 2 years now, because not everyone's willing to commit. But that's a great place for you to go find a group of people, of your peers somewhere. And if no one's saying it, say it yourself. Who's interested in starting a mastermind? We can benefit each other in so many ways, and people will raise their hand, I promise. The newest thing that we're doing that we're super excited about is each of us will go and post on social media. And then the first thing that we do when we start our call each week is we drop the link in our Zoom, and we go look at each other's posts and we comment. Comment, like, and share on each other's posts, because we all benefit from that engagement on a new post. So just some little tips for you there. I knew that one was going to take a long time, and we are just about out of time. So before we go, I do have to say to you, the next cohort for the Brainstorm and Blueprint, your book, is about to start. If you don't sign up quickly, you'll be waiting for the next one. I'm not entirely sure that we're going to do another one this quarter, this end of this year, because we're coming into the holidays. So you would be in the January if you don't sign up soon. But the Brainstorm and Blueprint, your book, is really just that beginning process, getting your book out of your head. We go live for 6 weeks in a group coaching call, and this is the foundation, the beginning of your book. It's where we get your idea out of your head and we get an outline put together. It takes us about 6 weeks. The collaboration is great fun, and we get some amazing things going on in the Facebook group, which is where you go after your first 6 weeks. It's a private Facebook group. We might actually, there's a secret, but we might be changing to a new platform for that. But for now, that's where we're at. And this is where everybody comes together and shares their writing, talks about their writing, asks questions about their writing. People will critique each other. People help each other with their book launches. And then I'm there every week giving more tips, tricks, tools, knowledge, whatever, answering questions, because you don't have to do this alone. Right? This journey of writing a book can be scary, can be overwhelming, but you don't have to do it alone. If you think this sounds like something that you need to be a part of, you can go to clararose.com/masterclass, and there's a short video that just talks about the process a little bit. Drop your email, and yes, you're going to get on my list. You can opt out at any time, but that will let you know when the next class is coming up if it's closed. Of course, it takes you to a page that tells you even more about the Brainstorm and Blueprint Your Book Masterclass. We would love to have you be a part of it. You can also sign up there if the cart is open. That means you could still get in the next cohort. If it's closed, then you have to wait to the following one. But you will get an email alert saying, guess what? The next cohort is open. You can sign up if you'd like. That helps me keep my class sizes small so that I can give really good personal attention to each of you, which is really important. You don't want to join a Zoom coaching call where there's 50 people or 100 people on there and you never get to ask your question. So I like to keep them small and intimate. Plus, those relationships are going to gel more quickly in a smaller group. And then when you move over to the larger group on Facebook, you have a core group of people that move with you. So you have some relationships already built, which is a wonderful thing when you join a new group. And then, of course, the people who've been in the group much longer, they're farther ahead on the process, are quick to welcome the new people and offer advice and guidance and help along the way. So you don't just get my help and my advice in me in the group, you get all those people who've already either even published their book and they've stuck around for the community, or they're farther along in their book. They may be in formatting at this point, or they may be looking for a publisher at this point, or they may be publishing with Rosedale, and then they're become a part of the Rosedale publishing family. Okay, I am out of time, but thank you once again for showing up every week for me to learn something new from me. I hope you found value. If you did, please share this with a friend. We'll see you next week.